Hello, friends. Yesterday a video appeared on my channel where I drew a glass bottle in a realistic style. And if you are a fan of realistic painting, please go to this video and enjoy the accuracy. But just after such lessons, there is a great desire to loosen up and perform something more spontaneous and free. And today it's a Venetian decorative painting that I'm doing in rapid motion. And it is this swift movement, spontaneous, effortless, unpredictable, that gives all the freedom to create and paint. And just after long, precise, realistic painting sessions, this creative approach gives a complete sense of freedom. Otherwise, without it, you don't understand. And what that freedom looks like. Well, that's about what it looks like, as you can see on the screen right now. Naturally, the artist uses all his creative experience to paint such pictures. And the bigger and more complex this experience is, the more interesting the decorative painting turns out to be. For example, if you have never painted a Venetian landscape, then to put together a composition with some tower, houses on the sides, the first time will be difficult and, of course, it is necessary to rely on photo reference. But if a certain starting point appears, a desire to do something exactly according to the photo reference, the very freedom we are talking about goes away. Therefore, having experience in works of this genre and this plan is almost the most important circumstance that will lead more or less to some result. Otherwise your work, which is fine too, and such a genre also exists as naive painting. That is, your panel will look like a naive painting. Why isn't what I'm doing now a naive painting? Because I'm making it a naive painting. Because there is a certain experience, a professionalism in the hand that even such an ornate line creates temperamentally, quickly and skillfully. If we're talking about a beginning artist, he or she is more meticulous, careful in drawing those lines, and it shows in the final image. By the way, if you want to loosen up your painting more or less, take this video exactly as a lesson, which will allow you to relax a little, to make your hand more mobile. Well, the arm and of course, everything in the head. That's right. Creatively. Even if you're an artist who uses strictly realistic methods, sometimes this exercise in discretion will do you good. And what I've noticed is that when we do workshops, even if we do lesson according to a certain scheme in order for each student at the masterclass to get an acceptable, interesting result, still in a room with 18 participants there are a couple of people who start doing things in their own way. More often than not, this leads to a not-so-good result. But there are those students, the people who know how to do everything, know how to step aside but still not mess up the final image. The biggest problem with apprenticeships and workshops is the student's ability to stop in time, because I have often noticed that the work is already finished, interesting and well put together on surveys. At a certain point in the work. And if the workshop has some time left, we don't split up. The student begins to finish the work, finish, and a certain temperament goes out of it. By the way, you can write in the comments, and at what stage of work you like this decorative panel. More a little earlier now or later when we advance in the work on this painting. A little further I can tell you that the more touches, the more this kind of painting seems more recorded and written down, and consequently a certain temperamental part leaves it. And what comes in is done. And since we're talking about freedom means spontaneous action and not some free breathing of this painting. The main thing here is how to keep it going. That is the task, and you, if you work in this manner, will certainly face this question at what moment to complete the painting. It is ready at all times, that is now, or there is a need to work in such a way that the viewer sees a sharper, clearer image. It's in this kind of painting, I keep saying this, the artist decides this question for himself. This task. What if at some point you missed the stage of work that and can be considered complete? Started to continue the picture further, but ended up getting lost and lost them. The very freedom of painting we are talking about, and the work no longer looks fresh and temperamental, but scraggly and done. I would apply this way. Clean it all off. Even if the canvas becomes not white, but stained with paint, to scrub off everything as much as possible with a mastichin, and directly on top of the already. Failed work is urgent, write a new one quickly. It takes 15 minutes to do the kind of work you're looking at right now. Well, about 16 minutes is the length of this video, if you and I take into account doing the sketch for this decorative panel. Is it possible to prepare sketches or some kind of outline in advance for of this kind of painting? Of course you can, but the sketches themselves should look about the same in freehand technique. That is, they don't have to be finished, realistic works that are treated as filigree paintings, and then you make something spontaneous out of them. No, the sketch itself should look like you saw it at the very beginning of this video. I realize that many who watch this video do not accept this version of working on canvas with paints and do not consider these to be paintings. But I'm here to tell you that it's not. I want to ask you to think about one more thing. They do neural network images very well, perfectly spelling out the eyelashes on people's faces. Well, fingers, hands and feet don't always succeed, but that's a matter of time. I think neural nets will learn how to do that soon. And an incredible rationality, roboticism comes from these images. Isn't this the kind of painting that is contrapuntal to machine artwork? We're thanks to the fact that every time, in every movement on the canvas, we make the wrong action, thus taking this creative process to another plane, to a completely irrational plane, making it so that the machine cannot repeat it exactly. Yes, if to feed this ready-made image into neural networks, then the machine will duplicate something similar, produce an image that will resemble this drawing. But here we can say that the machine has already learned to do this after we created this kind of spontaneous painting. But, and this image is just full of a huge amount of mistakes, swoops in the paint, drips, overlaps. That which creates a pictorial environment that pleases whoever wishes to take a sip of this freedom and engage in painting, which is opposed to some kind of spontaneous painting rules. Well, I'm already starting to write the details. Even a few drawn details in a painting allows for expenditure. The floating image into a single point of perception. We make a lantern like this. Later I will write people standing on this bridge, and immediately the picture becomes more complete. That's how it adds up over a short period of time. Decorative painting.
Застоявшуюся, скопившуюся энергию на полотно, в следующий раз мы можем приступить к написанию более продуманной работы. Опять начать с создания эскиза, точного, понятного, и дальше переходить к работе на холсте. Кстати, иногда
when even the most temperamental action can, as I have said, be thought out in sketches. In general, for me, without some sort of spontaneous decision. What does spontaneous decision mean? It's when you let the paint, the tool move freely across the surface and create on. On the canvas some unpredictable accidents, twists of strokes, fusions of colors, which you had not planned before, and do not try to smooth these moments, but on the contrary leave them in the picture. And the more you get, the freer the painting itself looks. And here it is a very difficult task for someone who is used to drawing everything, spelling it out, bringing it to a common denominator and making it incredibly realistic. But often it doesn't work out, and some, as I said, breath of freedom is gone from such a picture. And working in such a genre brings us to the point that we still have to act freely, even when painting realistic pictures. If we think of Shirkin's paintings, they only look like photo reproductions, photographs of nature in a small photograph.
Фоторепродукции, такие фотографии природы. Если рассматривать
When viewed from a close-up view of the work,
такого мастера, они
such a master, they're painted in strokes.
мазками, и иногда мазок может
And sometimes a stroke can go all over the surface of the tree and create a painting.
картину. Итак, друзья,
So, friends, you've watched a spontaneous painting class.
живописи. Всего вам доброго.
Have a nice day.
До встречи.
I'll see you later.